the people have the answer, things will change.
All right, we want to move on to
whether it's in the parties or outside the parties.
All right, we want to move on right now to the Democratic side of things. Hillary Clinton taking somewhat of a beating after yesterday's parade in which she was in New Hampshire, and her campaign roped off, literally, the press who were trying to cover her, and we have the video to show of that, I believe. And you know, they say it was so that there would be enough distance so that Hillary could shake hands with some of the regular people who were there, and that they could all get a good view of her. John, what about the optics of this?
Well, I was just going to say, if I think back to her book tour a year and 2 months ago, she's had a steady trajectory in a gradual but steady decline. You know, there really hasn't been a good day for Hillary Clinton. Even her 2 announcements have been odd. The one in the Volvo or whatever it was, the van driving to Iowa, was weird. And then the thing here on Governor's Island was not, or Roosevelt Island, really didn't do much. I think this woman has no political sense. I think she is of the establishment at a time, as the three of us say, the establishment is not popular. And I wouldn't bet that she's the Democratic nominee.
You know, I think petting it would be beneficial if we could put the polls up on Iowa and New Hampshire, because what John is saying is all too true.
And Doug's calling for that poll. Let's put that up right now, the Iowa Democratic Caucus. Now, take a look at the numbers. And you know, if you go back even further than May, back in February, Hillary was at 61. She's now at 52. Back in February, Sanders was at 5. He's now at 33. Sanders, someone who people said, Doug, was very unlikely as a candidate, he's shooting up there.
This is a pure protest against income inequality, against the establishment, in the same way that back in 1968, Senator Gene McCarthy, the long-shot challenger to Lyndon Johnson, drove the incumbent president out of the race by getting 42% in New Hampshire. There is someone waiting in the wings. That is Elizabeth Warren, who so far has said she is not running for president. Whether, if this trend continues, as John suggests it might, whether Elizabeth Warren will emerge, that is the huge question that faces the Democrats and Hillary Clinton as we go forward.
Pat, what's your take on the Democratic side?
My take on the Democratic side is that she is in deep trouble. She's in trouble as a general election candidate because, like Lyndon Johnson, agree with the metaphor that I've used too, that Doug did about 67, 68. Johnson had the war and everyone said you can't do anything about it. Hillary Clinton runs around with these scandals of corruption enveloping her and her husband. If we're not for a Justice Department, the Injustice Department, as I call it, who has chosen not to investigate anyone except enemies of Obama, worse than the Nixon administration. They indicted Senator Menendez, but they have not looked into the IRS and Lois Lerner. They will not look into the destruction of the emails. They will not do anything about what 61% of Americans believe is the obvious dealings between Hillary's decisions and the money going to the Clinton Foundation. She is in trouble. You're seeing the grassroots riot, basically, in Iowa, New Hampshire, against this being jammed down her throat. And there'll be others. Elizabeth Warren and maybe Joe Biden.
All right, the music's playing. We got to take a break. We're going to